Hi everyone. I hope I'm audible. So just a second. So I'll just check if this is live. So the topic for today is structured questions or diagram based questions on nervous system. Okay. So I think this is live, right? Yeah, this is okay. So before I start, let me introduce myself. I'm Vani Kari, biology educator at Unacademy. I'm an engineer with bachelor's and master's degree in biotechnology and a B.Ed degree. Also a founder of a startup where I grow microgreens by vertical farming technology. So here we have come up with a new crash course, which is gonna start from November 17th. So that is just in 2 or 3 days. So this is mainly all subject batch, that is maths, physics, chemistry and biology will be covered. And in this batch the mode of delivery is English. So if you are planning for your preparation class 10, so where you haven't started yet, where you can start revision, okay, so revision can also be the thing here, or otherwise if you want to start from the very beginning, so you can go ahead with this crash course where we will be covering all the important topics as well as Selena solutions in this particular crash course. So this is going to start from November 17th, and if you are planning to subscribe for this, you can use the code VANIYT. The code is VANIYT to get 10% discount on the subscription. So you can go ahead with this. And yeah, so to attend the crash course, so for those who are new, so you can just download the Unacademy Learners app and you can find this courses and batches there from self-study. So there you can enroll. Okay. Alright, so let's get started. So we'll be discussing some structured questions or diagram based questions on nervous system, and all the questions that I have added here are taken from Together With as well as Oswald publication. So let's have a look at this. Okay. So will Selena solutions be live on YouTube as well? So that anyway can be discussed. If you guys want me to discuss that, we can do that. But anyway, till now I'm just discussing some kind of questions. So that can be done anyway. Hi Raju. Hi Bharg Mishra. Good evening. Okay, so we'll start this. So you can have a look at this question. So this is anyway taken from Together With. And this question was asked in the year 2017. Okay. So 2017, now this is 5 years back. So there are many different types of questions. So you can also refer the recent books. So certain changes are there. So always refer these old year, previous year question papers. So that at least you'll have an idea like what kind of questions can be asked. So let's have a look at this. So the diagram given below is an external view. So this is an external view of the human brain. Study the same and answer the questions that follow. So name the parts labeled A, B, C. Okay, that is in the diagram. State the main function. Yes, anybody, you guys can type in over here what is A, B, C in the diagram, and state the main functions of the part labeled A and B. So what exactly is the function of this one and what exactly is the function of this one, and other than that, the structural and the functional units of the brain. So what is it and how are the parts of these units are arranged in A and C. So now you need to mention the arrangement of that structural and functional unit of a brain in A and C. Yes, anybody has answered? Absorption of roots. So you want me to go ahead with previous year questions of absorption of root? Yes, that can be done. Okay, so further classes, now anyway this month it is anyway scheduled. Next month onwards we'll go with the PYQ from plant physiology. Okay, so since I haven't conducted any plant physiology related, I think yeah, so those sessions are not done. Yes, I'll do it in the next month. Okay, so A is cerebrum, B is cerebellum. Yes, that's right. C is medulla. No, not medulla. So A, B, yes. So it is anyway not medulla. So what are they asking? So you need to have a look at this question. Have a look at this. A and C, they are asking the arrangement of the structural and functional unit, and this is a continuity from the medulla in fact. Okay. So if they just label, so now this is the pons over here. So just below the pons labeling is there. So this can be medulla. Okay. So now this is a continuity over here. So this one can be spinal cord. Okay. So this is spinal cord. So mention the collective term of the for the membranes covering the brain and what is the function of cerebrospinal fluid. So first one is A. So A is cerebrum, B is cerebellum, and C is everyone are saying medulla oblongata. So this is in fact spinal cord. So that is not medulla oblongata. Okay, how you can decide? So there might be a confusion, like whether to call this a medulla oblongata or a spinal cord, because anyway continuity is going to be a spinal cord. Okay, so just below this pons what you find, so if they are labeling over here, so that can be medulla oblongata. So if you are getting confused whether this one is medulla oblongata or a spinal cord, so just go through these questions. Okay, and if they have asked about the arrangement of this neuron, so that is structural and functional unit of brain is what? It is the neuron. Okay, so they would ask the arrangement of neuron. So there is no, like in your book at least they have not mentioned anything related to neuron arrangement in medulla oblongata. So it can be in cerebrum, so that is in brain, or in the spinal cord. So depending on that you can just make a guesses with respect to if you have a confusion, like so let's say this is the pons now. Okay, so just below pons, so continuity will be medulla oblongata. So now just below if they are labeling, you can just mention this to be medulla oblongata. Okay, and if they are labeling over here, so this has to be spinal cord. So now since they have labeled it at the end, so this is going to be spinal cord. So mention the okay, so another this thing, state the main function of the part labeled A and B. So what is the function of A and what is the function of B? Anybody has any idea on this? Cerebrum. What does the cerebrum do? What does the cerebellum do? Cerebellum is anyway, I think a lot of you are aware of this. Cerebrum, many associated functions are there, like thinking, reasoning, logical reasoning. Then midbrain of the cerebrum when we consider, so hearing, vision. Okay, so all that is there. But yes, so with respect to A and B, so cerebrum, when we mention the memory, so cerebrum is the seat of memory. It is intelligence, voluntary actions. But in case of cerebellum, what would be the condition? The body balance will be maintained, the muscular coordination. So since we are bilateral, so we are having a bilateral symmetry, right? Like so our left side and the right side, so this is going to be similar, so that is called as a bilateral symmetry. So coordination between the right side and the left side has to occur. Okay, so that coordination for the proper muscular movement, so that will be done by the cerebellum. So coordination, the body balancing, coordination between the muscles and the body balancing will be done by the cerebellum, since we are bilateral organisms. So in that case, yes, so this is the function. So structural and functional arrangement. Yes, now tell me how exactly the neuron is arranged in cerebrum. The gray region, the white region, what is that? Gray matter, white matter. So what exactly is gray matter made up of? Whether it is in cortex region, medulla region. Yes, anybody has any idea on this? So genetics chapter is very confusing, especially the Punnett square questions applications. Okay, you can do that. When you study the five kingdoms. Yes, so in five kingdoms classification you have studied this bilateral symmetry. Yes, okay. So anyway, with respect to this now, the structural and functional unit. So if I have to mention about the brain, so brain, the cerebrum part specifically, The cerebrum, when we mention, so there is a cortex region, so there is the medulla region. So cortex region is made up of gray matter, the medulla region is made up of white matter. Gray matter is made up of what? It is made up of cyton or cell body. The white matter is made up of axon. So arrangement of neuron is like what? So like outside is cortex, okay. Let me just draw here. So outside is cortex, so the middle part is medulla, okay. So now you can find the cyton over here, okay, but the axon at the inner side, so that is the medulla is having the axon part. So this part is having axon and this part is having the cell bodies or the cyton. So in that case, the brain or the cerebrum, so gray matter you can find in the cortex region, okay, and the white matter in the the medulla region. So it's reverse, vice versa in case of spinal cord. So spinal cord, when we mention, again as usual, the outside is cortex region, the inside is medulla region. So cortex region is made up of what? It is made up of white matter, reverse over here, okay. So white matter is going to the cortex region, the gray matter is coming to the medulla region, okay. So this gray matter is in the medulla region. So reverse happens in case of spinal cord. So this is with respect to cerebrum. So cerebrum or the cerebellum, so both the sides, the arrangement of neuron this way itself. In case of spinal cord, so it is white, gray, and white as usual it is made up of axon, and when we say gray matter, it is as usual made up of cyton or a cell body, okay. So moving on to the next question. So mention the collective term for the membranes covering the brain. So there is a brain, okay. So this particular brain, when we mention, so the brain is covered by three coverings. So what are these three coverings called? So there are three coverings that you can find on this brain. So these three coverings together are called as meninges, right? So these are meninges. So outermost being dura mater, okay. So in the middle one being the arachnoid, the innermost being the pia mater, right? So grey matter makes up the outermost layer of the brain. White matter and grey matter are similar as they are both in essential sections of both the brain as well as the spinal cord. So grey matter is made up of always cell body. Okay, white matter is always made up of axon. So only thing is that whether the grey matter or white matter is present in a cortex region or the medulla region. Okay. So if the grey matter is present in the cortex region and the white matter in the medulla region, so that is the cerebrum or cerebellum. So if the grey matter is present in the center, so that is medulla, and the white matter outside, so that is at the cortex region, so then that is the spinal cord. Yes, so these are basically meninges. So if the infection occurs to these meninges, that is coverings, so it will cause a meningitis, so swelling in the layers of the brain. Okay, so that swelling can be seen. So this we call as meningitis. Okay, so that is inflammation of the meninges due to infection, like pathogen could be the reason. Okay, so what is the function of cerebrospinal fluid? Yes. Cerebrospinal fluid, it acts as in board questions come from Selena book. So it is always Selena which you guys have to refer. Okay, so Selena is the best book that you can refer, because I have taken the evaluation training and it is always recommended Selena is the one that you refer. And if even if you are writing any location or explanation, so keywords which are given in Selena, so those keywords you need to include while you are writing a location or maybe an explanation, so that will have a more weightage. Okay, and there won't be half mark given. So instead, if you are writing a keyword, that particular keyword that they expect from Selena, so if that you are writing, so you would get a full mark. Okay, so it is always recommended Selena for ICSE. Okay, so here the cerebrospinal fluid. So cerebrospinal fluid acts as the shock absorber. So it is the medium for exchange of respiratory gases, food material and waste material. So moving on to next question. The diagram given below is the representation of a certain phenomenon pertaining to nervous system. So study the diagram and answer the question. So here again you can see this question was asked in the, one second. Okay, so in the year 2014. Okay, so 2014 was the year this was asked, very long time. But yes, again try to refer to the recent one also, old question papers also totally fine. So here the diagram given below is representation of a certain phenomenon pertaining to nervous system. So what phenomenon they are trying to depict, you need to mention here and study the diagram and answer the questions that follow. So name the phenomenon that is being depicted. So what exactly are they asking here? So cerebrospinal fluid, hazy, choco, king, high. Okay, so other than that, give the technical term for the point of contact between the two nerve fibers or two nerve cells. So let's say two nerve cells are there. Okay, so there is a slightest of gap which is there. So this point of contact between the two nerve cells when we mention. So what is that technical term? Yes, anybody? So this is asked lot of times. So this particular question what you are seeing here, so this is asked lot of times, so you need to know. Okay, and other than that, name parts 1 2 3 4. What is this, what is this, what is this, ye kya hai aur ye kya hai. And other than that, write the functions of part 5 and 6. So what is this and what is this doing over here. So all these you need to mention. So how does the arrangement of neurons in the spinal cord differ from that of the brain? Okay, so you need to mention the arrangement of neurons. One second. Yep. Okay, so synapse, yes, the process being studied is reflex action and the technical term is synapse or synapse also. Okay, so you can anyway pronounce it, so synapse or synapse depending on your interest. So this is anyway synapse, so that's right. Okay, so the phenomenon that is being depicted, so this is the reflex action. So what is 1 2 3 4? So you can have a look at this. The answer is reflex action. The second one is the synapse. Then the labeling what they have given there. So let's check this one. So this one is what? This is at the receptor. So let's say leg or maybe a hand where the sensation of pain or maybe pressure or heat, cold, so that can be felt. So this is the receptor. So through the receptor, now the one that they have given. So through the receptor, message is being carried. So here we are not saying this to be a receptor. So this is going to be a sensory neuron. So you can have a look at this. Sensory neuron is the one that carries the impulse from receptor. Okay, from receptor the impulse will be carried to the spinal cord. Okay, so this way it is moving. Okay, and that means this is the sensory neuron which is bringing the impulse. So second one is what? Dorsal root. Okay, so not the ventral root but the dorsal root ganglion. So as you can see, so this is the head portion that they have mentioned, like just like ganglion when we mention. So this is nothing but group of cyton. Okay, so there are group of cyton when they are present or group of cell bodies are present. So this particular structure which is there, so this is gonna form the ganglion. Okay, and this structure what you find where all the group of axons are there, so this we call as the nerve. Okay, so now what is asked here, so one second, let me just erase this part. Okay, so now with respect to this, so this is dorsal root ganglion. So then there is gray matter over here, so the center one, and this one is white matter. So gray matter and white matter is there. And other than that, so this one anyway, the give the technical term is done, and write the functions of part 5 and 6. So part 5 is what? This is association neuron. So what does the association neuron do? Yes, And this is what, this is motor neuron, because you can see here they have shown a muscle. Okay, so always the motor neuron is going to carry the impulse from central nervous system to the muscle or the gland. So it can be endocrine gland, or it can be exocrine gland, or it is the muscle for some kind of action. Okay, so what percent helpful is bio PYQs for boards? It's not like that. Like, you should always refer this PYQs. We cannot always mention that to what extent we are going to get the same question. So nobody knows about that. But anyway, these previous year questions for sure are going to help you. You'll have an idea like what kind of questions you can get in your board exam. Okay, so it is just for your idea and the type of questions that you can get, so only for that reason. Okay, so that the more you practice, the more you actually get comfort in this particular subject, so that is biology, and also it will be a good practice. Okay, so that's the reason always PYQs are referred. So write the function of part 5 and 6. So association neuron is connecting the sensory neuron and motor neuron, where the impulse from the sensory neuron is being conveyed to the motor neuron after the spinal cord does the decision. And other than that, the function of 6, so that is motor neuron. So what does the motor neuron does? It will convey the information from spinal cord to the effector organ. So effector here is muscle or a gland. So in this diagram here they have shown a muscle, so it is acting on the muscle. So association neuron connects the spinal and motor neuron. Then other than that, how is the arrangement of neurons? So it is anyway the same thing. So spinal cord, the cortex region, the white matter, okay, and it is made up of axon. The medulla region is gray matter and it is made up of cyton. So it's reverse with respect to brain. So in case of brain, the cortex region is there, medulla region is there. So there is a gray matter, there is a white matter. So this is made up of cyton and this is made up of axon. Okay. Yes, moving on to the next one. So here, okay, so same type we have already studied. So let's have a look at the next one. So brain anyway we have seen. So the given figure below shows the diagram. Okay, so this is the diagram of a neuron. One second. Okay, so diagram of a neuron. Study the diagram and answer the following questions. So have the questions ever repeated in past years? Yes, there are repeated questions anyway, like multiple times, because they can, every year they cannot create a new question, right? So whatever syllabus from that, they have anyway tried their best in giving a new questions, but yes, so same type of questions can be there. So it's better you refer all previous year questions. Okay, so it will basically give you an ideology. Yes, there are repeated questions as such. Okay, so now label the parts 1 to 5. So what is this? Ye kya hai? Ye kya hai? What kya hai? Ye kya hai? Ye kya hai? And other than that, state the function of part labeled 4 and 5. So what does this do and what does this do? So you need to mention that. And other than that, explain the term receptor and effector. So one is dendrite, cell body, nucleus, axon and myelin sheath. I hope you know that, right? The labeling anyway. So this is going to be dendrite. Okay, so there is dendrite. Then second one is labeled, what is second one? So second one anyway, overall it is for a cyton or a cell body. The third one being the nucleus. The fourth one being the axon. The fifth one being the myelin sheath. Okay, so state the function of part labeled 4 and 5. So what does axon do? What does myelin sheath do? Yes, what does 4 and 5 does? So state the function of part labeled 4 and 5. So axon is basically helping in transmission of impulse from one cyton to the other neuron. Okay, so and other than that, the part 5 myelin sheath, when we mentioned, so this protects the axon, where it will act as an insulating material, or we can also say that it prevents the leakage of impulse. So since, let's say here is the nerve fiber, okay, So that means there are many axons in this nerve. Okay, so this is the nerve fiber what you find, and in this nerve fiber, I mean this is the nerve, not nerve fiber. So in this nerve you can find many nerve fiber. Nerve fiber is nothing but the axon. So many axons are there. So there is a chance that impulse from here can jump, impulse from here can jump to this, impulse from here can jump to this, so impulse from here can jump to this. So in order to avoid that information which is being carried by the nerve, so that shouldn't get mixed. So in order to avoid that, the myelin sheath which is there covering the axon, so that will act as the insulating material which does not allow the mixing up of impulse between the axons over here. Okay, and that's the reason the myelin sheath is very important along with the neurolemma. Then other than that, the receptor and effector definition is asked. So the nerve cells which on receiving the stimulus set up waves of impulse towards the CNS. The effector, the muscles which on receiving the impulse contract or secrete substances. Okay, so effector is nothing but which is, after the message is sent from the brain or spinal cord, that is through the motor neuron. The effector is nothing but the muscles. Okay, or it can even be gland. So now with this respect to the diagram, anyway here they have not given any diagram, so you can consider this to be muscle or a gland. Okay, so which on receiving the impulse, so muscle or a gland on receiving the impulse, so it is going to secrete the certain things. So now secretion is for what? For gland. So if it is muscle, so it is going to contract. So here they have just mentioned muscle, so you need to mention gland as well. So it is a muscle or a gland which on receiving the impulse, so it is going to contract, so that is with respect to muscle, and secrete, so that is with respect to gland. Okay, so receptor nerve cells which on receiving the stimulus, so they set up a wave of irritability. So here one more is there, so we can just label this, that's all. Okay, so we will just label this and I'll end this session. So the diagram given below represents the longitudinal section of human brain. So this is the longitudinal section that they have taken. Label its part 1 to 9. So this one, just a second. So then this one, 3, then you can see 4 is here, 5 is here, 6 is here, 7 is here, 8, and then there is 9. Yes, can anybody label these? What is one? Cerebrum, right? So this one is cerebrum, so you can have a look at this, the huge one what they have given, so that is cerebrum. So what is second one? So you can have a look at this, so this is the gray matter. So when you observe it, so gray matter is on the outside. Then third one they have given the white matter, so this is on the inner side, you can find the white matter. The fourth one is what? So what is this channel what you find here? The fourth one is basically the midbrain. The fifth one over here is the cerebellum which maintains the body balance. So sixth one being the spinal cord, seventh one being the medulla oblongata, then eighth one being hypothalamus, ninth one being pituitary gland. So since now let's say eighth one, so from the base of this hypothalamus hangs one particular gland, so this we call as pituitary gland. So pituitary gland is having associated secretion functions, right? So pituitary gland, hypothalamus is mentioned. So location with respect to pituitary gland they can ask, so all this you need to know. Okay, so anyway we did have discussed, like one second, so lots of questions. Okay, so I'll end this session. So before I end, just a second, I'll go with this. Okay, so any doubts you have, you can just search Vani Kari ICSE class 9 and 10 on Telegram. Okay, so thank you all. So see you all in the next session. So subscribe to our channel. You can also click on bell icon to get notified about this session. Like and share the video. And if you need this PDF, yes, you can find it on Telegram or on the community. So to join the community, all you have to do is download the Unacademy Learners app, and you can just search Vani Kari. Okay, so there you can join my community, and I will be sending this PDF over there. Okay, so you can find it over there, or otherwise it's you can also find it on my Telegram. So that is Vani Kari ICSE class 9 and 10 biology. You can search on Telegram, so you can find this PDF there. Okay, all right then, so see you all in the next session. Bye bye everyone, take care, thank you all.